And welcome to the C-Pod. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome, welcome.
How have you all been? How have you been, Beth?
Yeah, all good. Not too much to report really, but just looking forward to recording. We've been planning a lot.
Yeah.
Writing things down, talking a lot over the phone, messaging. So it's good that we're finally meeting up because it's difficult to get us both pinned down, isn't it?
Because if you didn't already know, Beth has moved away from London, so...
In the Midlands.
She's a Midlands girl now. She's a traitor. What a traitor.
Yeah, so it's more difficult for us to meet up, but it's cool because when we do, I think we're productive and we get on it. So
yeah,
it's quite nice to be together today.
It is. And also a very kind of embarrassing story. If you're watching us, I had to put this jumper on.
Oh my god, lift up.
Yeah. We're matching. Leopard print, you know. Who are we, the Spice Girls?
It was a bit much. We put the camera on and looked at ourselves and wow, it was a bit much.
We just like, when we took our coats off, we were like, we looked at each other and we're just like,
how did you
we
know?
really just do that? Yeah.
And last time we both turned up in khaki green and brown, and I was like, oh my god.
No, we've got good style, clearly. Or so we do.
Just a match made in
heaven. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about Leanne's story, so about diagnosis generally, how she felt, the time period. Last time we spoke about mine, so now we're flipping it on its reverse, which will be interesting because it's different in many ways, although we were similar ages.
Yeah, we were, yeah.
So let's begin.
Okie dokie. Wow, where do I begin?
So can you tell us a bit about when it was, the context, who you were at that time in your life?
Okay, so I was 18 years old. I had just finished sixth form and I was on my way to university. I moved out. At the time I lived in Cambridge for university. I didn't go to Cambridge. I'm not that smart, guys. Don't worry. But yeah, so I was living in Cambridge. You don't need to know that, it's all good. But yeah, I was living away from home for the first time. And to be honest, I was a massive party girl. I did care about my education completely, but to be honest, at that moment in time, all I really cared about was freshers, which, I mean, you know, everyone...
I was going to say, like, first year of uni, yeah, you do care, you take it seriously, but first year, when you get to third year, you realise how easy it was. You don't take it that seriously,
Yeah, and so I was just excited about living away, you know, experiencing the whole new chapter of my life. All I was doing was going out partying every single day or every single night, and that was basically my life for the September. And this was in 2014. And then I started to get symptoms around October time. One day, I think it was when I first started university, I came home and I just was not hungry and I just didn't want to eat. And then people that night were going out and I didn't go out and I was too tired. I just didn't feel up to it.
And it's difficult because at that time you didn't actually know.
No, of course not.
You had leukemia. You probably just thought, oh God, like, what are other people going to think? Oh, I look like I'm bailing, I look like I'm weak.
That's the thing. And then...
And they probably thought, gosh,
what
you
a
can't
loser.
keep up.
Yeah.
But they weren't to know.
No, of course not. And I honestly thought it was fresh as flu. So I'd been non-stop for about a week, going out, coming home at 6 o'clock in the morning, sleeping all day, then going back out again. It was not healthy. But yeah, so I was just too tired. And I remember it was my friend's birthday from university. And she had a party. And I remember turning up and then they was going to a club after. And I bailed on the club and I felt awful. But I was just too tired. So this cold came along and it was pretty bad. So I just assumed, you know, okay, I'm getting sick, brilliant.
Yeah, those kind of symptoms, you don't think of cancer, you think of, oh, I'm a bit run down.
Yeah.
I have been going out a lot this week.
Yeah.
Listen to my body, I'll be fine by tomorrow or the next day. It is general wear and tear.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I didn't, yeah, that's the thing, you just put it down to a cold, you've been changing your lifestyle a lot, and I just thought it's just an illness, like a cold. And then I noticed that my attendance at university was dropping and dropping and dropping, and that was because I was really sick and I just kept on putting it off.
So when you say you were sick, did you just kind of miss lectures because of feeling under the weather, having a cold, like headachy, like general flu-like symptoms?
Yeah, so at the beginning, that was the case. And to be honest, at the beginning, it wasn't that bad. I was still able to go out and do stuff, but then maybe I felt tired at night. So, and then it was mainly the cold that I had at the beginning.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I remember one night we all went out and I came back home early, and then they had to call an ambulance because I think I had a panic attack in my bed, but this is where it began to get worse because I had a cold, and then all of a sudden, just like click of a finger, it changed, and I became from being ill to, you know, this girl needs to go to hospital.
So what was the change? Was it a change in symptoms or
change
in how you felt?
Yeah, so both really. I did not feel well in myself at all, but I did never think it was cancer, never.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I had a panic attack, which I think it was, but I was just too hot, I was in pain, my legs were really hurting, and this is when it began to get bad. So I had a really bad back as well, so I had pain in my back and my legs, and it started off in my back actually, and I think that's where the panic attack started. So in the end, I went down to the reception of my accommodation, they called an ambulance. I went into the ambulance and they just said that I'm overtired, I've probably got Freshers' flu, so they just said to take paracetamol.
Yeah. Especially being a uni starter, they're probably not going to take you as serious as someone that isn't going out all the time and probably intoxicating.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I just thought, okay, yeah, medics have said it's Freshers' flu. To be fair, I have been partying a lot more than what I would usually. Yeah, okay, it's absolutely fine. So then I think I went back to sleep. I was still in a lot of pain, but I went back to sleep that night, and I thought, okay, it's been confirmed, I'm fine. It was literally over those, I'd say, next 2 or 3 weeks, just I degraded so badly in myself. I would wake up, I'll talk more about it in another episode, but I'd wake up and I'd have night sweats. So in the morning, I'd wake up and my hair would look as if I've just got out of a shower.
How did you feel at that point? Did it kind of register? Or
no, not at all.
Did you fear? Did you kind of think of anything? Or did you just completely dismiss it?
No, to be honest, never did I think it was cancer because I never knew the symptoms. I just thought cancer was a old person's illness.
Yeah, and a distant disease. Yeah. You'd know about it if you had it, and it's definitely not going to happen when you're 18 at uni.
No, of course not. I don't know. No. I know I can literally count maybe like 1 or 2 people that I know that have had cancer. My family, I think there's been a case, but I wasn't born when that happened.
Yeah.
So I just never had any actual interactions with it myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those next few weeks I degraded so badly, and when I woke up with the night sweats, I knew something wasn't right, but I just continued and thought, okay, maybe I have the flu, maybe I've got a fever, it's fine. But to be honest, it was not fine because the night sweats, they would soak into my bed sheets, my mattresses, it was disgusting. It would get to the point where I would go to university and I'd just be sweating buckets walking for 2 minutes down the road, and I'd have to come back home because I couldn't make the journey.
Was that just because of night sweats, or was that like your fitness declining, causing you to sweat more?
Yeah.
Or was it a combination of the two?
The night sweats is a symptom in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so I was tired as well. The tiredness really kicked in. I would wake up in the morning and then go back to sleep, and then I'd have university on the day. I just would not turn up to university because I was so sick. And I would wake up in the morning, try and have a shower, and then I'd be like, I'm too tired, I can't do this, and I'd go back to bed.
So what did you do? Did you ring up home? You said you got taken to hospital. What happened then?
Yeah, so what happened with the ambulance, they just dismissed me and I went straight back into my accommodation. And then I went on a family weekend away to Somerset, and when they looked at me, they went, whoa, like this is not okay. And I was pale, I would not eat because I lost my appetite. I couldn't walk because I had such bad pains in my legs.
And that's when tired. You think, hang on, it's more than being run down, it's more than being flu. Usually you have a good sleep, you wake up, have a full English.
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking, this isn't me. Like, I'm not like this. I mean, when I am ill, I can get ill really bad, but it should have been gone by now. And then my family began to get quite concerned. And I tried to get a doctor's appointment in Cambridge, but it didn't happen, and I also tried to get one back at home, and again, it just did not happen. So in the end, I went back to university. I do not know why, because I just thought nothing of it. And I don't know how I managed to get around, because thinking back, I had cancer and I managed to go all the way from Cambridge to Somerset and then
back again.
Yeah, with all my luggage and stuff. Like, oh my God, if I could go back, I'd tell myself, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, but
that's the beauty of hindsight, though.
Yeah.
At the time, you were oblivious and you'd never think it was that big.
No, of course
And
not.
if you kind of looked up and it said that, you think, oh, stop being dramatic, Leanne.
Yeah,
Like, it's always when you Google things, you think the worst.
That's the thing, and the weird thing is that I did not Google my symptoms at all. I just was oblivious to it. I did not think it was as bad as what it was. But when I Google my symptoms now, so I don't Google my symptoms now, but
And I wouldn't recommend it.
no, I would not recommend it either. But I was thinking, when I was diagnosed, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to Google the symptoms that I've had. And when I Googled my symptoms, leukemia, it was just like a list of leukemia. And then I was like...
And then it clicks, and
Yeah.
your eyes widen, and you're thinking, oh my God.
I know, and I just thought to myself, why didn't... I know it's scary, and I know you don't want to Google your illness, but why didn't I diagnose my symptoms? I could have diagnosed myself with the all the
Yeah.
symptoms that came up.
But it's connecting the dots, isn't it? You
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have thought about all those symptoms. You probably would have said, right, tiredness, well, I have been out, blah, blah, bad back. Yeah, maybe it's because of this the other time. Then you might not even think of the next thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so I went back to university, and I think I lasted about 3 days. I stopped eating completely, and it wasn't because I was on some crazy diet or whatever. I just did not eat, and I tried to force myself to eat, but it just wasn't happening. I just did not want to. And then when I was on steroids after that was the game changer. That all changed.
gosh, steroids.
Completely different.
Wow.
We'll talk about that in a different episode. That deserves a whole episode on itself, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not, but...
So what happened? You were feeling these things. How did you feel in yourself then? And what was the process from then to being diagnosed?
I was feeling very weak. I knew something was not right in my body, but I was too scared almost to go get checked out. But I knew I needed to. But in my head, I just kept saying to myself, no, you're going to be okay. You're going to wake up tomorrow. It's going to get better. You're going to be fine. And yeah, so these night sweats continued. I didn't eat. I was sleeping 24/7. I missed university, and I remember I actually, on one of those days before I came home, I went to university. I managed to make it, and I had to climb about 5 lots of stairs, and then I went to my class and I was sweating buckets, and this girl looked at me and she was like, whoa, have you just come back from the gym? And I was like, no, I'm just too tired. And I was like, it's too hot in here, isn't it? And she went, yeah, it's hot, but wow.
Yeah, not that bad.
Yeah, and she was like, have you literally just started to sweat? And I was like, yeah. And then she looked at me like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
It was literally like my hair was wet. It was horrible. It wasn't just like the usual sweat on your face. It was like you've just come out of a shower.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember going home, or I went back to, as in home at university, like my accommodation. And then I was sleeping, the pains in my legs got worse, and I began to limp because I couldn't walk. And in the end, I just called my dad up and I was like, look, you need to come and get me. I want to come home. I don't feel safe enough to be on my own. I don't know what's going on. So my dad came and picked me up. Then he took me home. I still had all of my stuff at university because, to be honest, I expected to be going back there in the next few days.
You thought maybe go home, have a bit of a rest over the weekend, come back on Monday.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Like, go see a doctor, hopefully. We tried to get another doctor's appointment, an emergency one, but we could not get it. And then I think I stayed at home for a night, and then the next morning my mum was like, okay, you are not okay. We are going to take you to the walk-in centre because if you can't get an appointment, we need to see what we can do. So I went into a walk-in centre, I explained my symptoms to them, and straight away they said, we don't have the facility to see you, you need to go to a hospital. I was like, okay.
It must have registered to them. They must have thought, you've got A, B, C, D and E, and look.
It's the obvious symptoms, yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point I couldn't walk, so I remember clutching onto my mum. It was ridiculous how much I deteriorated in such a short space of time. And yeah, so I was clinging onto my mum. I was limping as I was walking, and I remember I was like literally crying on the bus to the walk-in centre because it was such a mission for me to get there and back.
And also, you probably think, what's happening to me?
Yeah. I was like, why am
What's
I like
going on?
this? Like, I'm never like this. Like a few weeks ago, I was out in the club every single night. I'm destroyed.
God.
Yeah, so we went to the hospital that evening. For A&E, you have to be seen by a doctor first, or some sort of medical profession first, before they can recommend you further.
Yeah.
So I was called into the office, and the doctor was saying, you know, what can I do for you? What's wrong? And I told him all of my symptoms, and then he began to say, oh yeah, okay, so is this happening? Is this happening to you? Are you feeling pains in your legs? Are you not eating? Have you lost a lot of weight in a short space of time? And he was saying all of these things, and I was thinking, yes, this is happening to me, this is happening to me. Oh my gosh, this guy knows what's wrong with me, amazing. He can give me some antibiotics and I'll be on my way. He was like, okay, and he went, I'm gonna have to send you to the minor part of A&E. No, not the minor, the major bit in A&E, which is the, obviously, in emergency part of A&E. So I was like, okay, and then he printed off this sheet that I had to give to the reception, and I remember looking at the sheet, and on the top it said leukemia ? And then something else underneath it ?
Oh my gosh.
And I remember, yeah.
Oh God.
I
That's
know.
awful.
Oh, and when I left his office, he gave me, like, he shook my hand, he went, you're going to be okay. I was like,
I thought
thanks,
that
dude.
anyway,
Yeah. Like,
Also,
thanks,
I
man.
feel like out of the majority of cancers, leukemia is the one you know about. Leukemia is the one that's on the TV, or
It's
it's
on the
on
films, yeah.
the films, the sob stories, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So leukemia instantly registers, and
Yeah.
you have a perception of it.
Of course, and I saw it because I recently, before that, watched My Sister's Keeper, and I think the
gosh.
girl in that has leukemia, I believe.
I haven't seen it because I remember it was the rage when we were ill,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
just thought,
And The Fault in Our
Not
Stars,
now.
all that, yeah.
oh yeah.
But yeah, no, so I remember looking to my mum and I was like, Mum, look what it says on the top. And she read it and she went, no, don't be silly. She was like, you'll be fine. And she went, they probably have to put that just to check it's not, but, you know, that it's probably just a thing they have to do. It's probably routine. So I was like, okay. But then at that point in my mind, it was in the back of my mind, but I was still quite naive about it at the time. So I was like, no, it's not going to be leukemia. I'm fine. I'm going to have a flu. And then I was taken into another room and they had to do a full body check on me, feeling for stuff, which was obvious that they were checking for lumps. They took my blood. I was waiting there for ages. It was a long time. And then my blood results came back and they said, you need a blood transfusion. And that in itself scared me because I wondered why. Like, this.
And what is that?
Yeah. And then they just said to me, you know, it's going to give you energy. So I was anemic. So that scared me. And I thought, oh, okay, this might explain why I'm tired. This might explain why I'm not eating, because
and at that point, you probably just think, well, that's it then. I'm anemic. I'll be on my way, because that explains the tiredness, you know, feeling sore, almost like flu-like.
Yeah. Like, give me a bag of blood and I'll be on my way.
So can you fill in the listeners what a blood transfusion is?
Okay, so a blood transfusion is basically when your haemoglobin is low. Your haemoglobin, I would say, you know, I'm not a professional, but I would say it's your main blood cell.
Yeah.
Maybe, like...
Does it carry oxygen?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So, I think so, anyway. Yeah, so when it's low, it means that you obviously need a blood transfusion, and for this, it could cause tiredness, you can get really moody, you can lose your appetite. So what they do is they hook you up to an intrathecal? Yeah.
I don't know. I've never had a blood transfusion, by the way. This is why I'm so clueless. I'm like, okay.
This is fascinating.
Yeah, this is all new to me.
I want one. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Not anymore. God, I honestly, I've had about more than 30.
Oh my
For sure.
God.
Yeah, no, it was awful. But yeah, so they hook you up to an intrathecal, which is basically a drip. It's basically blood in a bag, let's be real, and then it just goes down like chemo.
And it goes in, like,
it goes in,
inserted into your
hand,
or onto your vein, and then the blood will go in, and it gives you like a boost. It's like having an energy drink.
Honestly, you feel so good after. It's the best. I know, right? Having a blood transfusion is the most boring days ever, but at the same time, it's like a massive treat. When you find out you're having a blood transfusion, it's like, yay, but also, because you're like,
Like,
yes,
it's a bit of an ordeal, but then
Yeah.
afterwards it's like, oh, I might
Yeah.
go to the gym.
I honestly felt like I could run a marathon. I couldn't, but I felt like I could run a marathon after.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a blood transfusion. So I needed one of those, and that scared me because I was thinking, well, why? What's caused this for me to have a blood transfusion?
And the fact that you've walked in and the first thing they're saying is, like, you need to go in, you need a boost, you need to have a drip.
Yeah. And I just assumed, okay, maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm stressed, which I don't know why I would be stressed, because I never went into university, really. I was too sick to. And also, why? And I was hooked up to blood, and that takes a good 4 hours. A bag takes about 4 hours.
So boring. I remember watching the bag, not for a blood transfusion, but for the chemo, and just watching it go down and seeing the drip. And
that's the thing. It's like the tiniest drip, and you think, come on. It's
think,
like watching a clock tick.
How long is that bag gonna take? It's going down.
I never do it because it's dangerous. But you have the rolling things where it speeds it up or speeds it down.
Oh really?
Just like slowly. No, I'd never do that. I'd never ever do that. Like, come on, you're wasting my day. Yeah. I wonder what would happen if you actually sped it up too fast. Do you think you'd have
You'd be like drip.
new form of a drug?
I don't know, but yeah. So you had your blood transfusion.
Yeah. So at the point I was still in A&E while I had this blood transfusion, and then they said to me, they came round and they said, okay, we are going to transfer you to this other hospital because we don't have an oncology there.
And automatically you're thinking, what is oncology?
Yeah. I was
What's
like,
this unit?
I don't know what an oncology is. What? Okay. And I was just like, okay, that's fine. And then at that point, I realised, okay, maybe I'm not coming home today. I was transported from one hospital to another, and then I was taken into the oncology unit. Still, there was no kind of signs of cancer or anything like that. But the room that I was put in was basically a room full of people that were waiting to be diagnosed, basically, but we were all in beds.
That is just the worst room you could ever think of. Like, if you think of like a scene in a film, like an improvisation. Like, I used to do drama, and they would give you a scene, and then you've all just got to start from there.
Yeah.
Imagine the hospital room where they refer you for your doctor to tell all of you you've got cancer. All these people in this room have cancer and they don't know yet.
No, that's the thing.
That must have been an awful situation.
Yeah, but the thing is that nobody looked like a cancer patient. I think it was just people that were ill, and either they were waiting to be told, or maybe they did have it, but they were just sick. But they obviously, not everyone that has cancer looks like a cancer patient, do they? So,
and also at that point in time, you could look completely healthy, and then 1 week into chemo, it changes completely.
Of course. But I remember looking around the room, and it was just full of either old people next to me, and then there was a few elder women opposite me, but they were really sick as well. So then I saw them and figured, like, kind of wondered, do I look like that? Do I look as bad as, or do I look as bad as how they seem? Am I really that bad? But I was just kind of still scared that I had this bag of blood attached to me. So I was more concentrated on this. And then that bag finished, and they said, right, we're going to give you another bag. And I just thought, okay, really? Like, I want to go home. But at this point, it was about 3-4 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
So they just said to me, okay, have some sleep, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. So I was like, okay. So I didn't really sleep that well. My mind was just concentrated on the bag of blood that was next to me, just freaked out that I was actually having this.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, my mum and dad came to visit me, and then as soon as they came, it was about 20 minutes after, I think, then they closed the curtains around my bed, and then, but they still had like a little bit open so I could see the woman opposite. And then there was about 6 or 7 people that came around the bed that I was staying in. Some were doctors, some were just workers there. And then they basically said, okay, we've had a look at your blood results, and we've found some leukemia cells in your blood. And I just kind of like looked at them and was like, okay, where's Ashton Kutcher? Come out, Ashton. I've been punked. Well done. This is great. Like, where is he? Like,
I love how that was your first reaction.
No, I was just thinking, okay, yeah, guys, like, come on now.
Oh, of course.
But I still didn't know what leukemia was. I had an inkling of feeling that, okay, yeah, this is not great, but I don't know what it is. But yeah, just seeing those people around my bed.
Also, when they say we found some leukemia cells, what does that mean? Does that mean get rid of it quickly now?
Yeah.
Does that mean it's serious? Does it mean I'm going to die? Does it mean
Well, that's
chemo?
the thing, yeah.
Like some leukemia cells, it is still like, okay, what stage? What progression? What do we do? How long has it been there? How long is it going to be there?
Yeah, I didn't know any of that yet because I was then transferred to another hospital after. But before that happened, I went blank. I felt like I detached myself from the world, that I didn't fit into the world anymore,
of course.
almost. And yeah, it was like, you know, when you hear in movies, like maybe like if there's been an explosion and somebody's been affected and their earring goes and you just hear like that screeching high-pitched voice and it's just like everything's blocked out and you can just hear this screeching noise. That's how I felt, almost. And I was also in denial because I was thinking, okay, no, I'm 18 years old, I've just started university, I've just moved out. No, this is not happening to me.
This isn't supposed to happen.
No, it's not supposed to happen. And people my age don't get cancer. Like, no, I literally refused to accept it. I kind of floated around for a bit in this weird bubble. The nurses and the doctors were explaining stuff to us, but I was not listening. I was just looking at them, staring at them like like in a daze. Like,
yeah, it's hard. I remember being first diagnosed and they tell you, okay, this is it, this is what we're gonna do. They talk about it, you know, in such complex language, and you've just been told. All you can think about is that diagnosis.
Yeah.
You can't think about the information. So I remember we just picked up loads of books and leaflets. It was like how to cope with Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Those bloody books.
And I remember just getting home and having the stack on my desk.
Did you read them or did you stay away from them?
My dad read them all, because the way he would feel most comfortable is to
know about it
and be well informed. So
I would rather not know, almost.
Yeah, I remember like flicking into these books and giving myself just a little pep talk, like, right, just read what you can, don't be freaked, just read things that will help you. But like, I didn't read it in depth, I just read like little bubbles here. It's just too much. It's too much.
It is, it's so much. And especially when you're first diagnosed, you're reading all these things like side effects, and you go to the normal kind of standard side effects, so you have like the mouth ulcers, the tiredness, the achy bones, all stuff like that, and then you get to the more serious ones, so like blood clots, what else is there? I don't even know what else.
Oh yeah, it's like when you actually get diagnosed, before you have your chemo, they give you like almost like a contract.
Yeah.
Do you get that?
Yeah,
it's like
I'll go on to that, yeah.
A stack of papers which say what you are committing to, the side effects, potential risks, and it's kind of like you're sitting there, you've just been told you've been diagnosed, and they say, right, here's
your contract,
the outcome, this is what you've got to do now, but you know, the side effects, you could die, you could secondary cancer, you could have this, you could have that. And also, when you do have some chemo, specific drugs cause specific side effects.
Of course, yeah.
So you have another drug to offset that side effect, and another
it's
drug
just never ending,
to stop that. Yeah. And it feels never ending. So obviously at that point in time, you've told you've got something, you know, life-threatening, and then the only thing you can do about it is commit to something else, which could be life-threatening again. So it's so overwhelming.
That's the thing. And then, that's how I felt almost, but I didn't really think, at first I did not believe that it was happening to me. So I remember just being in this bubble, and I kind of closed my eyes while the nurses and the doctors were explaining everything to my parents. And I just said to myself, yeah, you're in the nastiest dream ever. Leanne, wake up. This isn't fun. Like, just wake up. It's a stupid dream. And I opened my eyes thinking that I was going to be back in my university bed, starting a new day. And I was there still. And I was like, for God's sake, damn it.
So what happened? How did you feel when they said your diagnosis? What was your diagnosis in more detail? Did they tell you a stage? What was
so at that point when I was diagnosed, they didn't know a lot. They still had to do a lot of investigating into it. So they didn't really tell me a lot apart from that I had leukemia. But then I remember the first thing as well that came into my head after I kind of was brought back into this world, I came away from my bubble eventually, and I remember as soon as I broke away, the doctor said to me, "Do you have any questions?" And I
Where
just,
do I start?
yeah. But the one thing that came into my head was, "Oh, is it a cancer?" And then they said to me, "Yeah, it is a cancer, but you've got leukemia, which they associate differently to a cancer. So they'll say cancer and leukemia."
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, but that
I
doesn't
feel like
answer my question."
there's always a but. Like when I was diagnosed, they said Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I was like, yeah, but is that cancer? Oh, but it's Hodgkin's lymphoma.
That's
But
the
is
thing,
it
yeah,
cancer?
Yeah, that's literally what they said
And
to
then,
me.
and then finally I said, okay, what type of cancer is it? How serious is it amongst all the cancers?
Yeah.
Even though that's kind of a stupid question because it depends on your stage and prognosis and things. And they said, yes, but it's the best cancer.
That's exactly what they said to me. So when I got transferred to the other hospital, one of the nurses came up to me and said, "Yeah, you know, you've got leukemia, and if I could have," not that she wanted, but she said if there could be any cancer in the world that she would have to have, she would choose leukemia." And I was
feel like they say that to most people though, because they say that to me too. But
and I was like, okay. Is that
I don't know how to feel about this now.
Is that good? But a lot of the nurses said, "Yeah, you'll be okay." And I was like, "But will I? What am I about to go through?" But yeah, even the nurses when I was diagnosed at this other hospital said, "You're going to be okay. The treatment's really good. The survival rates are really good." And I was like, survival rates? Hang on, what? I'm like,
Am I 100%?
Yeah, exactly. I remember my dad asking if I was going to lose my hair, and I said yes, she will with the chemotherapy that she's going to have. And then in my mind, that was when I kind of sunk and was like, wow, this is cancer.
That was the same for me.
Yeah. I mean, even if I had treatments, I know it sounds stupid, but if I had treatments which didn't cause me to lose my hair, I probably would still be in a lot of denial that I was a cancer patient still.
Of course.
But when they said that, I was like, okay, this is going to be like, this is real.
The diagnosis is a massive thing to get your head around, but when you have to wake up every day and you look visibly different, it's a constant reminder. I know that I changed so much and so quickly, and it scared myself, and I know it scared the people around me as well. And that's a different story.
That's the thing, as soon as you have like your first few rounds of chemo, that is it. It just, you deteriorate so unbelievably quick, and it is scary because you feel like you can beat it. Like, no, I'm not going to be this kind of
no, I won't lose my hair. No, I won't.
That's literally how I felt. And they came back to my bed and they said to me, okay, we've got good news. So I was like, oh my God, you've mixed my results up. Amazing. Like, what have I got? And they went, we've managed to get you a place onto a teenage cancer trust ward in London UCLH. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, and they said, oh, it would be nice because you'll be treated with people your age and it's a lot more of a nicer environment, even though it's not, it's awful. Well,
and at the time you're like, great.
Yeah.
But now looking back,
oh my God, we were spoiled rotten.
Yeah. Like, we had pool tables and all sorts.
Like a jukebox and every game console you could think of.
Yeah.
And celebrities.
It's hard though, because when you actually go through chemo, the last thing you want to do is play pool or play the piano and stuff. You just want to like be left alone.
Yeah.
And the energy to do that and the concentration you just don't have.
No,
but
of course.
Environment is everything. It changes how you're treated, how you feel when you're treated.
Yeah, that's the thing. And now, if I ever had to go back into hospital, or when I was admitted into hospital at my local hospital, I have to be on an adult ward, and I hate it. It's horrible. We got spoiled, and it was nice to be in that environment. Yeah. And everyone's so lovely as well.
Yeah, of course. And that's how like we met, and that's how you meet similar people, because we were in a place where it's people like us. Yeah. Whereas I think the mental effects of being around people that you just can't relate to, that are older, the different types of cancer, you just feel so alone. Like,
no, of course, yeah.
You're scared as it is.
Yeah.
So a familiar face is so worthwhile.
Yeah.
When you have,
of course,
that journey.
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually finding this really difficult to talk about, just because it's not that I don't want to talk about it. I do, but I just don't speak about it, and I don't. Yeah. I just don't. Yeah.
I think it's like
strange.
Me and you. I think you more so. You know how you feel, but you can't actually.
I can't say it. I know every single word that I want to say, but I just can't say it because it just doesn't come out. It doesn't my mouth does not let me.
And you're used to not to, because during those times you. Like me, silent, you just you just had your focus, you had your goal, you kept it to yourself. There are some people on Instagram and whatnot that are like, are kind of have almost used it as a platform and
Yeah.
have put in a positive way, but have shed light on it and made it public, and that's great for them. And now they're known for that. And now I think, wow, I am you in terms of what we've gone through, but the difference is you have broadcasted it,
yeah.
and I've kept it to myself.
Yeah.
So their dialogue is so much easier. They
Yeah.
go through this kind of thing all the time, whereas we are new to it, which is great.
Yeah.
But we're not used to having open conversation
No.
like this, which is good, and which is why we are doing this,
Yeah,
and
of
what makes
course.
it so valuable.
Yeah. I mean, when I first was diagnosed, I kind of started up a blog just for me to do something. And I blogged a lot about my experience, but I kind of one day had this massive mental breakdown about my life and whatever, and I deleted it, and I really wish I didn't. But I deleted
that's
it
such a
because
shame.
it was like, looking back, it was just negative posts. But I wish I kept it because that's the insight of everything.
Yeah, and that's the journey, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's keep positive, which is great, but it's also fine to have weak moments,
Yeah.
and like moments where you can just not be strong for once. Like,
Yeah.
I know I was painted out to be so strong, so amazing, and I do actually think I'm just quite a get on with it person.
me too.
But still, it is fine for anyone, whatever shape or form, if you're more of an emotional person, if you're not so, to have weaker moments.
Of course, yeah.
And to be allowed to say negative things like you did, because at the end of the day, it's quite
It's a
difficult
journey.
experience. Yeah. Moving on. So, how did your friends and family think about it? How did you feel after hearing that word, leukemia? You had acute lymphoblastic leukemia?
Yeah.
What stage did you have? What did you do the day after?
So basically what happened is when I was diagnosed, I then got transferred pretty much straight away to the Teenage Cancer Trust ward in London. And then I remember going through the doors. I was still processing, obviously it was all like raw information. I remember going up to the lifts in the in UCLH. I remember going up to the lift where the ward was, and it's like these big secluded doors.
Yeah.
And then on the top it says Teenage Cancer Ward. And I remember reading that like, oh my god, I'm going in here. What the hell? This isn't me.
Yeah. And you the teens in there are friendly and stuff, but you just don't want to be one of them.
No,
so you
of
walk
course,
in, you're
yeah.
like, hi.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying your best to be friendly, but also I was taken aback. Like, when I walked in there, and I'm sure you did too, we probably walked in and we wanted to say hi, but at the same time we're saying hi to these people. We've never seen teens like this before. So we're like, hello,
That's
but
the
we're trying
thing.
to cover it up,
Yeah.
like the shock
Yeah.
of, oh my god.
Well, I was wheeled in by a bed, and I literally, as I went in, I just broke down in tears because I didn't accept it still, but it was like as soon as you enter those doors, that was your new world, and it was almost like you could not go back to that other life yet. And yeah, it was just almost like a horrible welcoming into this new world, and everyone was so lovely though, the nurses, everyone. But I remember I was put down on a new bed, and I had like a new little space, and there was people around, and there was people being treated, and yeah, I just...
The odd guy on the cross trainer in that little room.
I had all these nurses come over, introducing themselves. They were lovely, bless them. I had to go for a bone marrow test so they could determine what kind of leukemia I had. I think they were aware of what it was, but they wasn't too sure. They just needed it to be confirmed, and it would also tell me how advanced it was. But with leukemia, we don't really have stages. We just have... it's difficult. It's different to everything else. So what we were told was I had my bone marrow, and then I was told that my bone marrow was made up of 90% of leukemia cells, which is quite scary. And then what happens is that we all get put on the same treatment, and then we then have another bone marrow test like a few weeks after, and that determines how much the treatment has killed off.
All right, okay.
And then they separate us into groups. So this group might be, so like group A could be they need stronger treatment, group B could be they're okay as they are, group C could be they don't need as much. Sort of.
Sure.
But we call them regimens. So yeah, I was on regimen B in the end, but that's a different story. So yeah, I had my bone marrow test, and then they were so lovely. They came around, they brought a laptop to me and they said, yeah, make yourself comfortable, this is your not this is your home, but they obviously tried to make it,
but treat it as your home.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
be comfortable and make yourself feel welcome.
Yeah. And I remember they had a workshop. There was a workshop by another amazing charity called Teens Unite Fighting Cancer. They were there, and it was more like a pamper kind of evening. So I was still, my head was still floating, just, you know, I was not on earth at all. But I was like, okay, yeah, I need to get out and do something. So at this point as well, I was constantly hooked onto blood. Like, I needed blood transfusion from the get-go.
Yeah.
So I was hooked onto blood, and then I went round to the kind of, what do you call it, the communal area where it had a TV, a pool table.
Yeah.
And they had like little bits going on, and then I spoke to the charity. They told me about it. They made me feel a bit more comfortable, but at the time I still didn't know what to think because I was in denial. And then I was introduced to a lot of the younger people that were on the ward as well being treated, and I kind of kept to myself. But I remember I don't know how to explain it. I remember looking at them, and they were obviously way into their treatment. So they had lost their hair, they looked pretty sick, they were so pale, skinny. And I remember looking at them thinking, no, that is not going to be me. I am not going to look like that. I'm going to do something different because I'm so invincible apparently. I can do this. There's no way. I'm going to hold on to my hair as much as I can.
Yeah.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah.
I don't care how lethal it is. Like, no, I'm not going to lose it.
Like, you always think, well, yeah, I can do something to prevent it. Like, this woman told me like a horror story of, she washed her face in the morning and she did it a bit too aggressively. So she like rubbed instead of patted, and then she took the towel away and her eyelashes and eyebrows were in the same place as if they were in your face. And I was like, I am never going to wash my face.
It's more of the horror of like, actually, for it to actually happen, it's horrible, isn't it?
So in my mind I was like, well, I'm going to pat my face and I'm going to be really gentle so I won't lose my hair. Done.
Yeah, that's the thing. You think you're invincible and unstoppable, and that okay, these are happening to these people, but it's not going to happen to me because I won't allow it.
No.
But yeah, I remember looking and I was like, no, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to be me. I am not that person. I don't deserve to be here.
And even when you're diagnosed, people obviously kind of tiptoe around you, want to treat you slightly differently, and you're like, but I'm me. Don't treat me differently. I don't want to kind of have the sympathy, or for it to be like, how are you?
Yeah.
Like, I get that it's completely good intentions and they're caring and you just don't know what to say, but you think, but I am me, it's not going to happen to me, I'm not going to change. So when people around you start to change, it's frustrating because you think, like, I'm still me, I'm just kind of going through a bit of a rough time and it'll be okay.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I remember on the topic of friendships, what I decided to do is, after I had the workshop, I don't know how to explain it, I wasn't settled in at all. I was still in a lot of shock, I was still in a lot of denial, but I kind of figured, okay, I didn't accept it, but I also came to grips with it. So I then texted only like a few of my really close friends and told them the situation. But then word kind of got out, so I was receiving messages on Facebook, and then in the end, I had to do it the really modern way nowadays, and I just put a status on Facebook because I figured that way I do not have to go on all my contacts and tell people that I might be friends with but not close to, that I don't have to tell everyone individually. I can just let it out there.
And also, people are talking about it, so you
of
might as well
course,
bite the bullet and be
got
like,
out completely. So I was like, okay, I might as well just announce it, or like the big announcement. But yeah, so that happened, and they were really good. When I remember I first texted them, it took a while for all of them to reply, but they were like, what? Like, what's going on? And they just couldn't believe it, almost. And I was like, some of them thought I was lying. And I said, no, like, I'm here. And they went, what? Serious. Yeah.
So what was your thoughts? What now? You've just got a diagnosis. What was your mindset like? What do you do?
I tried so hard to want to come out of hospital. And in my mindset, it was, okay, I'm going to get released today. I'm going to go home today. But I didn't realise. I think the first week I was like, okay, next week I can go home. And then I was so in this mindset where, okay, this isn't me, this is not me.
Yeah.
I need to go back to university now. So I was in such denial that I kind of, if you saw me in person, I would be okay, I'd speak nicely to the nurses, I'd be friendly, and just like whenever they'd ask me questions, I would just go along with it. But in my head, I was thinking, no, okay, this is useless, this is not me. And I was just expecting myself to go home, but I ended up being in hospital for a month when I was diagnosed, because the treatment is so intense for the first few weeks. Your body's going to obviously react, and it's not that it reacts bad, it's just that could be the case.
It's a shock.
Yeah.
So what did you do? Did you start treatment straight away?
Yeah, so the night that I was diagnosed and the night that I got transferred into the hospital, I remember in the evening my nurse came around. So we're all assigned, if you're at a teenage cancer trust ward or just you're treated at that unit, you're assigned a nurse, clinical nurse, aren't you? So she came around and spoke to me. She was lovely. And then next thing you know, the paperwork comes out, holding it, carrying it along. And she dropped it down on my like little mini table desk thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, you need to sign this. And she read it out to me. And she said, this is your contract, basically, your treatment plan. All you need to do is sign. And if you agree to it, we'll be happy to start treatment tomorrow. And I just looked at it. Yeah, that's the thing. It was so, because with leukemia, it's so aggressive that when you're diagnosed, it's the earlier you start, of course for every cancer though, I guess the earlier you start, the better.
Did they tell you that yours was particularly aggressive?
Well, leukemia is an aggressive cancer anyway, but because my bone marrow was made up of 90% of it, it was like, yeah, you need to start big time.
So were you kind of advanced? Were you early stages of leukemia? Could they tell?
They can't tell, no. We asked that. They did not know. They just knew I had it for a while. I must have had it for a while because the symptoms were going on for a few weeks. But they can't tell you anything like that. It's not really like that. It's just more of a, if you catch it, you need to be treated instantly so we can work, because it's just so, 1 minute you could be fine. And to be honest, that explains it through my symptoms. 1 minute I maybe had the odd cold, maybe the ache here, and next day, like, bedbound. Yeah.
So you were in hospital for a month, started treatment. That was chemotherapy?
Probably I started chemotherapy within the next, I think it might have been the next day, but then I also feel like it was the day after.
Wow.
Something like that. Within the next 2 days I started treatment, and
so you were an inpatient, you stayed in
for the first month.
Chemo, stayed in.
And then after that I was released.
Released on bail?
Yeah, released on bail, yeah. Handcuffed, everything. Yeah, no, I was released, I think after 3 weeks. Just before Christmas.
Okay.
So yeah,
it's a weird way to feel just before Christmas.
I know, yeah. There was nothing happy about it, and I remember it was the weirdest feeling coming out of hospital, because I felt like I was let back into the normal world, but it didn't feel like my world anymore.
Yeah, exactly. What do you do now? You feel like you've just gone through something. You're home, so do you carry on doing things you did before? Like, do you see friends? Like, you're in a weird limbo.
Yeah, and I remember we had to get the train home. And because they are so huge on, you're going to get infection, germs, everything. I remember just sitting there and I had my top over my nose, like, do not come near me. I am contagious. Do not come near me. And I remember whenever someone coughed, I looked at them like, no, shut up.
I remember being paranoid, like, someone sniffed. I'm going to end up in hospital now. But I remember, the moment that I came out and got on the train, I was like, okay, I'm infectious, just like, I felt like I should be in one of those orange suits with like the kind of like space helmet. Practically bubble wrap.
Yeah,
I felt like my parents wanted me to be put in bubble wrap for a good year, just protection, insulation.
And that's, I think, the paranoia of that whole like germs and stuff like that. You just get, no, I can't do this, I can't go there, I can't touch this.
Yeah, things you didn't think about before, you have to think about now. Even like little kids, before you're thinking, oh, if I go around a 2-year-old, I don't want to infect him or her, or even a newborn. But now it's like, kids are at playgroup, things on their hands, eating things, whatever, and now you are the person that's got to think about it, whereas before. And
even now, do you have to think about it now? Because I do. Like, I still have to be careful.
I don't really. I feel like I've snapped out of it. I should probably be more aware. I mean, I just think I'm tough as old boots, so it's fine. I've snapped out of it in terms of public transport and stuff. Whenever someone coughs or sneezes, I'm okay. But when it's someone that's sick around me, like that's ill, I think, okay, I'm gonna get this soon. Great, brilliant. Yeah, of course. You forget, like, you're not invincible. And I think that's what it comes down to. When you are diagnosed, are in denial, maybe. It's different for everyone, but I know I and you thought oh, okay, yeah, maybe it'll be cancer, and when you admit that it's cancer to yourself, you still don't think you're going to be like everyone else. You still think,
no,
oh, well, I won't lose my hair, and like obviously, you know, this won't happen to me, and obviously I won't stay in hospital, and the chemo will be fine, and it'll be okay. And then gradually, the reality, the harshness of reality hits, and you think, okay,
this is it. It's happening.
Yeah, and so now, like, you know, we are okay now, but we're not invincible, and nor is anyone. You know, everyone is human, and everyone is just who they are, battling what they're battling.
Of course, yeah. And that, my whole treatment, so from the time that I stepped out of the hospital, it went on for 2.5 years. Amazing, right? 2.5 years. The thing is, with leukemia, the first 6 months is intense. So you are in pretty much every week, near enough every day, receiving treatment. And then after the 6 months, if you go into maintenance, that's kind of, it determines if it's gone. So when you go into maintenance, you're pretty much in remission almost.
Yeah. Like maintaining the current
You're
state.
maintaining it, yeah. So in maintenance, I was on chemotherapy tablets orally every single day for the next 2 years. And then once a month I had a dose of vincristine, which is like a intrathecal chemotherapy.
Horrible.
I hated it, but at the same time, it was the nicest one I had, if possible. I know they're not nice.
The best out of a bad bunch. I think that is just, if we had to quote the best out of a bad bunch,
for sure.
It's always like, oh, the best chemo out of a bad bunch, the best cancer, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah.
we'll talk more about symptoms
and treatment, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, in other pods.
Yeah.
So, to summarise, what would you say, looking back, what have you learned, what would you change, if anything?
Nobody deserves to go through that at all. I've been able to appreciate the fact that I've had it, and I've definitely been grateful for the life lessons it's taught me and the outlook in life I've been given, and I feel like it's changed me as a person. I feel like I like the person I am now. Before, I was just the typical 18-year-old girl who was out partying, did not care about, like, the stuff that I should have prioritised wasn't a big deal to me.
Of course.
And now I feel like I have my head on my shoulders, kind of. I mean, nobody ever clearly does, do they? But I feel a lot more of a better person in myself.
Yeah.
And I like the person I am now, and it's weird, it's changed me because I'm like an introvert now. I don't really go out that much, but that's because I'd rather work hard than, I do like to socialise, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather have like a good night in with people or cinema or something like that.
Basically, we're two 70-year-olds.
Literally in 20-year-old bodies.
But no, I agree with the terms of, I mean, I'm always in like a contradiction. Sometimes half of me thinks I am blessed to have had cancer because it's a life lesson that I would never have gained before. Yeah. And I don't think age defines you personally. I think you can be 70 and have lived a completely different life to someone who's 15. You know, some people battle hardships, some don't at different ages. I kind of feel blessed in terms of, I feel like I've been given something and that's happened for a reason. But then obviously other times it's hard to look at it like that. When things are more difficult, then it feels like it should be at 18, 19, like now being 21, but at the time I was 17. So you have to handle it yourself, and everyone handles it differently.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think like lessons that what I'm also grateful for is, I feel like when I look back, I feel like I wasn't on the right life path at all. I mean, when it came to university, I didn't enjoy my course, and and I just think I wasn't sure where I would end up down that path. I don't know what the outcome would be now, but I don't know if it would necessarily be as good now, where now I feel like I've met the right people in my life. I've lost people and learnt that lesson, but it was for the right reason, and it was meant to be. I also feel like study-wise, and also like life in general, life is just great now, and I feel like it's meant to be. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's taking you down like the right route.
Sure. So that's great, and that's brilliant. I feel similarly.
Yeah.
What would you change, or not necessarily change, but tell yourself maybe now, a few years gone? What would you say to yourself back then?
To not Google anything. Also, I think to know that it's okay to have bad days, because I had a lot of bad days, and to be honest, I did treat them like bad days. I just lay in bed all day. But I also want to remind myself, you know, it's okay. And also I think I would like to say, you know, who cares what people think? Because I used to go out, and when I did go out, I'd wear my wig all the time. I'd be too scared to show, like, just wear a scarf or something like that. I'd be so scared, and I'd worry about what people thought of me, or if I saw someone that I knew, if I bumped into somebody, like, how would it be?
The panic, oh my god, I've got to explain everything.
So I just think I would change, you know, don't care, like, you do you, girl. That's what I actually think. Like, even in your worst days, you know, just be comfortable.
Yeah, you have to focus on you.
For sure. What about you? What would you change?
I think just reiterating exactly what you've said. I wouldn't change anything, because I do think it happened, and at the time, even if I look back at anything in life and think, oh god, maybe that wasn't the best, at the time I thought it was the right thing to do, so I stick by it now. But I would just say, you do you, girl.
That is the mantra for today's podcast.
That's a wrap. So thanks for listening. This is all about our diagnosis. The last one was about mine, and this episode was about Leanne's diagnosis.
Oh my god, I feel like I need a wine now. At 11 o'clock in the morning.
Or sleep. Tell you what.
Have I bored you that much? I'm joking.
No, it was brilliant. It was great to hear your story, and I'm glad the listeners out there did too. The next episode will be on symptoms, so stay tuned. Keep updated on our social media, our Instagram, our Twitter, our Facebook, and our YouTube, and our SoundCloud.
Wow.
Just type in the C-Pod, follow us for updates, give us a few likes, a few suggestions.
And don't be afraid to get involved either. I mean, message us. We love to talk about this, and we'd love to have a chat with you guys as well.
We love a chat, we do. Yeah. But we will be posting things, just suggestions, what questions you want to ask us for our next podcast, guests, all things like that. So do keep in touch. More will come, and we are looking forward to it, and we hope you are too.
Yes.
See you
later.
later.
See you guys later. Thank you for listening.
See you later.
Bye. Cue the music.